All right, y'all. We are live. Hello, everybody. Come on in and make yourselves comfortable. And while you're coming in, I have to share this to my page. Just a second. We're about to have so much fun. A good conversation tonight. And I'm going to introduce my guest in just a second. Just hold on. Hold on. This beautiful lady who was joining me to talk about some good stuff, honey. All right, let me make sure my volume is down. Okay. Yes. So y'all come on in the room. Let us know you're here so we can know you are here with us. That's not how you do it. Okay. Okay, so I'm just letting them know we are talking about a 3-letter word that people don't like to talk about. Toni, why is that?
It's taboo. They trained us to not like that.
Oh, it's like, what is that about? It is okay.
We do it all the time.
All the time.
But why are you so scared to say it? Just say
it. And it's really good. Like, so why not talk about it and get educated on it and
do what it do?
Learn ways to enhance it. Like, what is happening? So we going there. This is grown folks conversation tonight. So get ready.
TVMA, okay?
TVMA. All right, y'all. So welcome to another episode of Relationship Talks. I am your host, Siobhan Carter, the You Relationship Coach. And what that means is I am passionate about all things concerning relationships, especially the relationship that you have with yourself. And tonight, I have the pleasure of being joined by this beautiful woman, Miss Toni Marie Rhone. And she is going to be talking to us tonight about sex, honey. And it is going to be a good conversation. So I see Reggie has joined us. Hey, Reggie. Al has joined us. Hey, Al. Okay.
Hey.
So a good discussion. Y'all chime in. Let us know y'all secrets or whatever, because I know y'all got some. So
I love the secrets, honey. I love them. No judgment here.
Exactly. We want it to be an interactive conversation and just have some fun tonight. So I connected with Toni on Instagram, the beauty of Instagram. She reached out to me about being on her podcast. And we just connected, did her show. And I was like, oh, girl, what you want to talk about? Because I want to have you on my show. And so she started telling me about Masters and Johnson, these researchers, scientists who just studied sex. So I was like, oh, yes, we need to talk about it. As long as we can keep it PG, it's TVMA. We're not going to go all the way there, but we're going to talk about it to where you understand what we're talking about.
Yes. Because if I'm talking about this topic, I'm sorry to talk about things that just the body parts. I'll keep it real PG-13, so just in case, but no XXX rated. If you want to see that, you come somewhere else.
Exactly. So Toni, tell the people a little bit more about you. Where you from, girl? Let us know a little bit more info.
So I'm Toni Marie. Everyone calls me Toni, just to keep it simple. I'm from New York. Hey. And basically, I got into this whole field just because, I got into have my bachelor's in social science, concentration in psychology, and my master's in counseling. And I just had the itch for getting into this because, like we started saying, it's taboo. No one wants to discuss it. So since I already look different and I carry myself different, why not go into a career that's different?
Yeah, that's good stuff. And you have found out some good information that I know you're going to share with us. So let's dig into it. Let's just jump right into it. What prompted you? I know you said that it's just something different and you wanted to get into it, but just tell us a little bit more about, coaching and what started you to get into the area of sex and relationships.
So just to extend, it's mainly because it's like we constantly are asking multiple questions about how can we be better in relationships? How can we be better in sex with either ourselves or with their partner?
Mhm.
And a lot of people from even when I was young, I'm an old girl now, but when I was young, I just hear all these conversations. People would come to me and I just hear all their relationship issues. And I'm just sitting here like, why are you going through this? Why
Yeah.
don't you speak up and tell people what you want, what's interested in you?
Mhm.
And I just said, I feel like psychology was mainly it. I didn't know where exactly I wanted to go
Mhm.
for sure, because I didn't think at that time, but sex and relationship was a thing. I didn't think I could go into that type of therapy. And once I did my research and everything like that, once I got into undergrad, all my thesis papers was on sex. I love Sigmund Freud, big up to Sigmund Freud, but once I got into Masters and Johnson, I was like, yes, I'm sold, but I still gotta give it to Freud though. But it's mainly because I love to talk about sex. I love to talk about relationships and encourage and help individuals, heterosexual or homosexual individuals, to better their sex life, better their relationship life, and just be healthy.
Yeah.
And just, we need it, and we needed to just keep pushing forward in this crazy life we living in.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy when I think back, many of us started just experimenting. Nobody said, okay, this is what you do and this is how you do it and this is how you perfect it. We was just experimenting on each other. We didn't know what we was doing. And then we carried that into adulthood. So some people probably still doing it like they were kids. Like,
Still doing you'll be surprised. You'll be
yeah,
really surprised. Like there's some older people that are still doing the basics, missionary and regular doggy style. I'm like, do you do the leg up, the side, the reverse cowgirl? What you do? And they're like, what's that? I'm like, oof, we got some work.
there's so much more for us to learn. So you're gonna learn us. I like to say, well, you're gonna learn us tonight.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned Masters and Johnson. Can you tell us who they are and what type of research did they come up with?
So it's William Masters and Virginia Johnson. Back in the late 1950s, they pioneered this research in studying the human sexual response cycle.
Mm.
And how they did that, they used they observed, human subjects. So they started out with prostitutes, since it was a little more easier and no one was really going to go to the cops and say anything. And later on, William Masters went into his studies and started getting other people and helping him to better his studies. Virginia Johnson came on maybe later on, and she was intrigued by what he was trying to do, mainly about the orgasm, mainly, and how people engage in intercourse and orgasm. And once they came up with their research, they came up with the 4 stages of the sexual response, which is excitement, plateau, orgasm, and resolution.
And you know what's so interesting? So if you are on YouTube, I encourage you after this live or when you have some time to look up Masters and Johnson. There's a whole documentary about their life. And Tony told me about a show that they had called Masters of Sex that
Yes.
was on Showtime, and you got to pay for it now. So I couldn't watch it to get some more information on it. But their documentary is a shorter version of their story. And it's so interesting how they were like Masters was literally sitting there, or yeah, he was literally sitting there watching the people have sex and just like documenting. It was so like
Yes, he studied their heart rate, blood pressure, like a lot of their brain functioning,
yeah,
and it was very intense. And if you're able to watch the show, you'll see more because Showtime shows everything.
yeah.
Fire Stick. It shows a lot more in depth.
Mm-hmm,
And it's more entertaining to watch through there because it's really interesting,
mm-hmm,
and even just learning how the body functions through the
mm-hmm.
sexual response is very entertaining and interesting.
Wow. So we have, hey Regina girl, thank you for logging in and watching tonight. So we have you talked about the 4 stages. So they came up, Masters and Johnson came up with 4 stages of sexual response. So you said excitement, plateau, orgasm, and resolution. So we're gonna break those down. Let's start with the excitement phase. Okay. So what is that? What does it entail? Let us know a little bit more about that.
So the excitement phase, before I go into the general characteristics, is it could, for everyone is different. It's always going to vary on you, but it could start off with just basic foreplay, just real basic. Could be intense kissing. It could be just touching the body, each other's bodies. You're not really touching any hardcore parts. It's just really just a sense of touch.
Okay.
So going into the general characteristics, so it's muscle tension, heart rate increases. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, excuse me, nipples become hardened.
Okay.
Blood flow to the genitals increase, resulting in swelling of the woman's clitoris and the labia minora, which is the inner lips.
Okay.
And the erection of the man's penis. The woman's breasts become fuller and the vaginal walls begin to swell, and the man's testicles swell, their scrotum tightens and begins secreting a lubricating liquid. So this is straight out beginning, very much beginning.
Now, let me ask you this, because sometimes people may not spend a lot of time in this excitement phase. Do you recommend how long people should stay, or what do you say about that phase? Is it like revving up the engine, like getting everything ready?
It's definitely revving it. It's definitely revving up the engine. You gotta prep it. You gotta, if you're gonna bake a cake, you gotta put some Spam, you gotta put some butter or some oil. Because if you don't, it's gonna burn, it's gonna be dry, it's gonna be upset.
Right. Yeah.
So it's definitely important the duration is not really important, because the excitement phase really goes into the plateau phase.
Okay.
So there's really not a duration on how you choose to go on it. It depends on you.
Does it intensify the experience if you take time? Like if you skip over the excitement, does that make the experience worse? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
There's really no skipping it.
Okay.
For everyone, and how you choose to do the excitement phase is different. So there's really no skipping it. If you don't have intercourse without the vagina getting wet or the penis getting erect. There's none of that. You have to get there. So it's like sometimes you could just go straight in, just forget the foreplay, go straight into intercourse, which some people have done, some people do. I personally and professionally say foreplay is everything. If you really want to rev it up and really get it nice, foreplay is your best go.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, do you think that physical and emotional attraction impacts excitement? Like, does that play a part in it?
Physically, yes. Because, and just in general in sex, physically, that's why I'm here. So I'm physically into you. So that's why I'm choosing to have sex with you. Emotionally, depending on the person, and I'm going to be saying that a lot because it really just depends on you and what your preference are. Emotionally, I could be emotionally into you and emotionally invested in you, or I could just be emotionally invested in the sex. And once I got it, I'm over it. I'm good. Yeah. So it really just all depends. And then it goes into, unfortunately going into this with rape victims. It's physically, my body's here. My body's in it. I don't want to, but physically I'm there. Emotionally, I'm not there.
Gotcha.
But the typical thing that rapists say is like, oh, she didn't say no.
Wow.
I'm like, but my body said yes, but my brain and my mouth and everything else is saying no.
Yeah.
So they try to use
the natural response, right? Okay.
We can't. Our body doesn't know how to shut that off when we're aroused. If we're aroused, we're aroused. We can't turn that off. So once it's like you're being raped, it's like, yeah, I'm maybe getting erect, or maybe I'm wet, but that doesn't mean I'm enjoying this. Right. It's just my body's just saying, okay, it's here and I'm aroused, but emotionally I'm not there.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, all right. So we talked about the excitement phase. So let's talk about this plateau phase, which is next. So tell us about that.
So the plateau phase basically continues on from the excitement phase. It just increases up, it takes it up a notch. So basically the vagina continues to swell from increased blood flow. The woman's clitoris becomes highly sensitive and retracts under the clitoral hood to avoid direct stimulation from the penis. And depending on your body, sometimes it becomes very painful. Some people, our clitoris is very sensitive and it's enjoyable, but sometimes it's too painful where it's just like, I don't want you touching it. at all. So, it could be all depending. Continuing on, the men's testicles tighten, muscle spasms may begin in the feet, face, and hands. So we're full blown into the foreplay, if you're doing oral sex or if you're full blown into intercourse. So the hands begin to clench, the toes clench, and the face could be doing whole types of different things. So we don't know what we're looking like.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, Toni, because this happens. What about those people? Now, I won't just put it on the men, even though we hear it more. What about those men who don't stay in the plateau phase long at all? They skip right to the orgasm phase, which is next. Like what? what is that about? How does a man control himself from going to that next phase?
So for everyone it's different. So some people can go from the excitement and kind of skip over plateau and go straight into orgasm.
Right.
Excitement and plateau kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
It's just the body is just revving up a little more. So now the excitement, I'm starting the car. I'm trying to start it, and then the plateau, I got it started. I'm putting it in drive. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So then the orgasm, I'm going. I'm full blown going and I'm done. But men, it's different because well, not just men and women, we can control when we choose to release.
Okay.
And we can train our bodies to release now, release later, hold it until I want to go. So it depends on how in tune you are with your body. And I preach that very intensely, that people need to know their body. How do you want someone else to know your body if you don't?
Exactly.
Feel on it and embrace it. It's mainly for women because a lot of men, men mainly jerk off and they say that they don't, but you do. No judgment, no bias here. But women are just so like, oh, I can't do that. Like, oh, I have not done that before. And it's like, why not? But you want a man to do it. You want a man to touch you, but you don't know how to be touched. And that's where a lot of these sexual relationships are at a problem. You don't know what you like. Your vagina doesn't know you. So how are you supposed to know another partner?
Yeah. So do you think now, we, my friend and I talk about this all the time about there are some women who get turned off by men. Like if they met a guy and they're trying to get to know them, they get turned off when when the guys start talking about sex maybe too early. What do you think? How do you think the conversation should go when it comes to sex? Like, do you think there should be extensive conversation about it beforehand or during, or like, how do you think it should go?
So if you're first dating someone, I feel like it's a conversation that should be had. Maybe not on the first date. Maybe it's like I'm lying. You can tiptoe in it. You can dab your finger in it. Don't full blown get in it. Don't because it's not attractive because it's all the person's thinking is like, oh, they just want to have sex. But if you tiptoe your way in it, like if someone asks you a very basic question, like, oh, I can't even think of one right now, but something very simple and basic, you can answer it because there's it's like, I'm honest, I'm comfortable within my own skin and I know what I want to do. I know what I'm looking for and I'm not looking for anything sexual, whatever it is. So if they ask you, answer it. If you're not comfortable, say you're not comfortable and you just dismiss it. But I feel like it's very healthy to address it from early on because if you're trying to date this person, they should know. They need to know. Yeah. And if maybe what you like, they don't like. So why should I continue talking to you or dating you if I ask you a question and your answer is like, oh, I don't like that.
Exactly. Or Monet asked a question. She said, but what about when he's being too respectful? So it's like, he just shies away from the conversation and doesn't say anything. And she's like, but I just want to,
So it's like the woman is bringing on the conversation, not the man.
Or wanting to. Tell us a little bit more about that, Monet. Is it more of when you want to talk about it, but you want him to initiate it? Like, what do you mean by that? So we can get some more insight on that.
So if he's initiating it or if you're initiating it, doesn't matter who initiates it.
Yeah.
It's a very simple question or whatever you're asking. It's not like, oh, I should never ask this on the first date. The only thing you should never ask me is what's my credit score, what's my social, where I live. You don't need to know that. Unless you pick me up, then you can't do that. But you don't ask me these extra questions. But when it comes to sex, it's like, some people get very upset, like what turns you on, what turns you off. That's a very open question. What turns me on is a man that is very assertive, that's very intelligent. It could be that. You could answer it like that. You don't have to answer. It doesn't have to be a sexual question. So if you just automatically think like, oh, he's just already trying to ask me sex, I'm like, no, you flip the script on him or her. I want someone that's this. And I want something like that. And then you could have sneak in like, well, I like my woman on top. But, you know, it could be on top in the bedroom or top CEO, whatever. You got to know how to finesse.
And I think that's key, because a lot of times when people get into relationships with each other and then they engage in sex, they're going off of, if they haven't talked about it, they're going off of what they have experienced before, what somebody else may have liked. This is a whole new person. So you really have to get to know the person, have conversations. And I don't think a lot of times people take that time to do that. They just kind of go with the flow and your emotions are going, and then you're into
and they just get into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, which is cool.
Yeah.
I'm cool if you just jump in it and you just don't even have no conversation about it.
Right.
Like, you can feel someone's sexual tension from a mile away. If you're in tune with yourself and you're in tune with your body, someone's sexual tension is going to steam off of them. And if you're in it and you're trying to do it, go ahead and do it. And you just figure it out while you're in it. Which is fine. It's spontaneous.
Yeah.
But the question being off the table is not, no, it's something that should definitely happen. If you don't do it the first date, it should be in the first 5.
Okay, got you. So speaking of questions, I got to do a pause right here, do a little commercial break. So speaking of questions, these dating 101 cards are cards that myself and my good friend came up with. We developed these for that purpose, to have meaningful conversations during your date. So the dating 101 cards, this is one of the packs, and it just has 101 questions and scenarios for people to answer and just get to know each other, and to make it less awkward, because sometimes people just don't know how to converse when they're on dates. So dating 101 are these cards, and I will put the website in here so that you can know where to go and buy them. So they were created by a man and a woman to spark meaningful conversations.
Ooh.
All right. So we have talked about the excitement phase. We've talked about the plateau phase. So let's go into this orgasm phase. Toni, tell us about that.
Oh, the big orgasm, the big O. So, so within the orgasm, the climax of the sexual response cycle, it is the shortest of all the cycles. It is just a few seconds. It's no more, no less. It's just a few seconds. And the characteristics of the orgasm is the involuntary muscle contractions. Blood pressure, heart rate, and breathing are at its highest with a rapid intake of oxygen. There's a forceful release of sexual tension. That tension that you was holding on from work, from your kids, from whatever you got going on, I promise you, it's gone. It's not. It is released out your body. Okay. In women, the muscles of the vagina contract. The uterus also undergoes rhythmic contractions. And in men, rhythmic contractions of the muscles at the base of the penis result in the ejaculation of semen. So we all orgasm. Some of us do, some of us don't. Some of us orgasm a lot, some of us don't. But it really just all depends on how if you were tensed up during that time, a lot of it's not going to come out. It's just going to be it's just like, it's like a cramp. And you don't want a cramp. You want to let it go. So you got to feel relaxed. So even if you're in a very weird position, let it go.
That's what I want to ask, because there are some women out there who have never experienced an orgasm. It's mind-blowing to me, because that is not my testimony. So I'm trying to understand I don't understand that, but help me to understand, like in your experience or your expertise, what do you think are some of the reasons why a woman is unable to have an orgasm?
There are some women that are not able to orgasm due to a lot of different factors. And some of those factors could be hormone changes. Maybe you just had a baby, or you're going through menopause. Some women over there going through menopause still have and their sex drive is higher when you're going through menopause. But you're not orgasming as much during menopause. It can still happen. Everyone's different, but it's very less likely.
Gonna say, look, now, I ain't hit menopause, but look, I ain't trying to, go through that, and have that be one of the side effects. But go ahead.
It could be you're not being stimulated enough. So that could go back into the excitement and the plateau phase. Your foreplay is very keen. If you really want to orgasm, and this is mainly for women because men usually always do. It's very rare a man says that they didn't.
Right.
It's very rare.
Right.
Women can fake an orgasm.
You said men can?
No, women can.
Oh, I was
women can fake an orgasm.
Yeah.
And it's not even quotes because we actually can. It's like, oh my God. So it's if you're not getting the full-blown foreplay that you need, or you're not getting stimulated the way how you are supposed to, it's not going to happen for you. It's just basically, you're just doing it just to do it.
Yeah.
You're going through all that extraness for what? Because I'm not getting anywhere.
Right.
Nothing. You understand? You're revving the gas.
Yeah.
But you're not going nowhere.
It's not giving what it's supposed to give. Like, okay.
Exactly. So it could be a lot of different factors. Once again, so continuing on, it could be some medicine that you're taking, some antidepressants. It could be lack of self-confidence when it comes to within yourself, or how you're going to do in sex with your partner, the fear of how you're going to do. If those types of things are going through your mind, it's not going to happen.
Gotcha.
You have to go into your sexual dynamic, sexual relationship, whatever you're doing, with a clear mind. There should be nothing going on up here.
Right.
Except I'm just trying to enjoy myself. That's
right.
it. And to fully be in it, that's how you're going to enjoy it.
Got you. Okay.
What else? It could be a use of recreational drugs. Vaginal dryness is a very big one for a lot of women of all ages. And it could be a lot of different. You could be very wet during the excitement plateau phase. Once you're full-blown intercourse, a lot of vaginas get dry. And that's not having to do with the partner. That could be a lot of different things with your body. So of course, there's lubrication for that. So don't think there's like a health issue. It's not a health issue. Let me not say that it's never. Sometimes it's not.
Okay.
Just a lot of things that you're not fully excited anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like you just need lubricant. That's fine. And you're going through stress, a lot of emotional distress.
Got you.
So you're not orgasming if you're under stress. Some people need the stress to fully just let it go. Others like, I can't do it because I'm not in the mood. I'm exhausted. So the body's too tired to even release anything.
Yeah. Something that I've also heard women say is that they are, I guess, like cut off emotionally. Do you think like being open emotionally allows you to be open and experience the full orgasm? Like if you are guarded or unable to connect, do you think that plays a part in it?
In orgasming or being in a
orgasm?
No.
Okay.
Because I could still orgasm and have no emotional to you.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm just here to enjoy what I need and go about my business. I let you go. You gave me what I need. Gave my oil change and I'm great. I could go on my way. Like there's nothing holding me to you.
Okay.
The emotional connection is nice because if you know your partner, it just intensifies the sexual experience. So it makes it more exciting because you know what your partner likes. They know you know each other's bodies. So it's just more exciting when you have the emotional connection, but it's not something you need to have. Because people just have sex just to have you. We have one night stands. I don't know anything about you. I'm just here because I saw you and I just wanted to do it.
Right.
I'm just emotionally connected to you because I thought you was hot.
Yeah, you was cute that night. Yeah.
Exactly.
So what about this? Okay. What about squirting? So we've heard women are able to do this. Some are, some aren't. So how does that happen? Can every woman squirt?
No.
Okay.
Not every woman can squirt. And a lot of people in general think squirting is pee. Okay. Now, the verdict is still out on what squirting is.
Okay.
There was a study in 2017 where researchers had women come in and they cleared their bladders before they had any sexual stimulation.
Mm-hmm.
They did an ultrasound to make sure that their bladders were empty. And once they started to get sexually stimulated, they saw that their bladders were re-full.
Really?
And then once they released, they saw that their bladders were empty.
So, okay.
So there's some say that it is, but then some say there isn't. And there's also debate going on that squirting and female ejaculation are the same thing or it's different. The verdict is still out. To me personally, and from what the research that I have done, it's different. With female ejaculation, it's more of a whiter substance. It's different, but with squirting, it's usually a clear, odorless substance.
Got you.
That comes out of the urethra. So if you want to squirt, if you have to do that on your own before you have anyone else try to penetrate you, you have to, I'm going to preach it, know your body.
Got you.
You have to hit the G-spot. The G-spot is 5 to 8 centimeters into the vagina.
Okay.
And you can use a lot of sex toys. There are sex toys that are made specifically to hit the G-spot.
Okay.
And they say that you should have a dildo and a vibrator to get that full-blown intensity, like of the squirting. Some people can squirt like a little bit, and there's some that can squirt like up to like 10 tablespoons. So it really, and some people can squirt on demand.
Okay.
Like I just rub it one time and boom, it's there.
It's gone,
going and going and going. So they have trained their bodies to do so.
It seems like it just came up, and maybe I'm just not as up on it, but it just seems like something that is fairly new. How is it something?
This is not new at all. It's nowhere near new. It's been out here for over 2,000 years. It's old. It's old.
Why ain't nobody just telling us till now that it can?
And a lot of men like it, and there are some men that are, I'm cool with it. All right, it doesn't. If you do it, great. If you don't, and then there's some men that are like, no, I don't want the mess because it's a mess.
It's a mess. Okay, got it. Okay, so we've gone through. Oh no, it's another phase. So we've talked about excitement, plateau, orgasm, and then resolution. Tell us about the resolution phase.
So the resolution phase is basically the body goes back into its normal functioning. The size of, the penis goes down. The vagina goes back to its regular color. And we've released everything that we need to release. We're exhausted after the moment. And then with women, we can keep going. We have that rapid response where it's like if we're continuous getting the sexual stimulation, we're energized bunnies. We can keep going, go right back into the plateau and get right into orgasm once over and over and over again. But with men, it's different because they go through a refractory period. And for men, it varies on how long the refractory period is. Some could be a few minutes, could be a few hours. Sure, it could be a day. So it really all depends on the refractory period. And like I said, you could train your body to keep going. Men as well can train their bodies to keep going. But it just all depends on how you know your body.
Got you. Okay. All right. So that phase, the resolution is just kind of bring everything back to its original state, or you get it back up and you go back into the plateau phase and start all over again. Okay.
We're just basically starting right back over again.
Gotcha. So let's talk about some of the things that you've experienced with clients. What are some of the common issues that you've seen with couples relating to sex?
Common issues is lack of communication about your sexual needs.
Okay.
What you need sexually is beyond important. What you need emotionally is important. And all those things are a factor. You want someone that's going to meet you physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually. And if you want to add on financially, we could do that too. Those are the 4 to 5 more important things. So if you're not talking about the things that are important to you, why do you think they're going to pay any attention when they're having sex with you? They're just going to do what they think is right.
Right.
And a lot of people just take from, like you said, from their previous relationship, carry it over into this relationship and think that's what I like. I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like how you twist it that way and lick it that way. I don't like that.
I can't breathe. You're trying to cut off my circulation. Jesus.
You got to be different. You gotta finesse.
Mm.
You know how to finesse.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to like oral sex, there's a science to
Okay.
it. A lot of people don't know that, but there's a science
To it. Okay.
there. If you just go ahead and just do it, yeah, you could just go ahead and do it. But it's just going to be basic. Do you want to be remembered as basic?
Mm-mm.
No, you want to be remembered. You want to be like, ooh, that was something. Like, that was interesting. Like I never had that. So I make sure I make sure all my clients know. Listen, how was your oral sex game? It's a very important thing. I hold key to my heart. Like, is it good or is it bad? It's on a scale of 1 to 10. And everyone wants to say they're 10. And I say, why? They're like, well, because da, da, da. And I'm like, that sounds basic.
Yeah.
That sounds basic to me. I'm not even excited hearing it.
Hearing it.
Like, that sounds so boring. It's like, oof, who turned on the news when you was talking about that? Like, it's so boring.
Yeah.
You have to go in and just do the regular, right? And then you put a spin on it.
Uh-oh.
That's how you got to do it.
Okay.
Spin on it. You got to put a spin on it.
Okay.
You just got to make sure that the mouth work, the tongue work, and you doing all of it.
Gotcha. But doesn't that depend on the person too? Because some people may like certain techniques and some, may not. So that communication goes into it as well, right? For that.
It does go into that, but then some people never had it.
Gotcha.
So it's like, I'm not gonna say like, oh, I'm doing oral sex like this.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Some people don't know what that means. I gotta feel it to know.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's like that type of conversation. It's just like, I'm just going to show you better than I could tell you.
Got you. Okay.
It could be the easy conversation. It's like, do you enjoy oral sex? Do you enjoy BDSM? Do you enjoy being spanked, like sex toys, like role playing? These are very important things that a lot of couples don't do. And they may just do it in the beginning of their dating, and then the relationship is great in the beginning, and then it dimmers down. Because what happened to the excitement? You don't do anything. I just do it one wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I turn over and I go to bed.
Right.
There's
no easy to do, right? When you're in a relationship, especially if it's long term and you just it just becomes something to do, just really monotonous. You roll over, okay, and then it's done. So
I'm doing it because my partner wants it. It becomes that. It's like, I'm just doing it because a lot of people are just like, oh, we're not going to do it. And like, you see me looking extra sexy. I smell even extra right. And it's just like, oh, good night. It's like, what? Like, what happened? I thought we were doing something. It's like, no, not at all. So that's how these relationships start to dwindle and they start cheating.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And we are supposed to do what we're supposed to do.
Right.
Women and men. It's not just on women. And a lot of blame are put on women. That's what mainly men cheat. Everyone cheats. Everyone cheats. But they say that men cheat more because they're not getting sexually satisfied with their women. And women cheat because they're not getting emotionally satisfied with their man.
Right.
If you want me to sexually satisfy you, emotionally satisfy me.
Right.
And once we have that there, baby, this car gonna keep going forever.
That's right. So let me ask you this, and I probably should have asked this in the beginning, but it just came to mind. What advice do you have for those women? You know how many of us were just told to keep our cookies to ourselves. We don't talk about sex. You don't do those kind of things. And then you don't allow yourself to experiment or do much. And then you get married or get into a long-term relationship. And then it's like you haven't even explored much because it's been preached to you. Don't do it. So what advice do you have for those women who are still wrestling with that voice that said, sex is bad, it's nasty, you're not supposed to do it, so.
I'm going to tell you, you better stop listening to that devil because sex is good. Sex is healthy. Masturbation is the healthiest thing ever. And women and men need to do it more often. They say that it's healthy to masturbate once to twice a day. The timings to do it is in the morning. It is like a good hour before you're supposed to wake up.
Okay.
And then right before you go to bed. right before. Because
Okay.
that's the best sleep ever.
Yeah.
And once you do it when you first wake up, it's like, okay, I'm up, I'm ready to start my day, and I washed off the sleep, and I'm ready to go.
You're right.
That's the best times, and it's healthy to do it. If you can't do it twice a day, do it once, and I promise you, your stress level will decrease. You'll be a little more happier. I'm not gonna say you're gonna be extra happy. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
No.
Right.
But I promise you, you'll be a little more happier. Like, all right, my boss was an ass to me yesterday, but you know what? I'm cool.
Right.
I'm going to release this tension later.
Yeah, yeah. And there are a lot of things out there now, a lot of toys, a lot of enhancements that you can use just to enhance the experience. And it's taboo for some people, but it's one of those things where sex is natural. Now, depending upon what you believe and all that kind of stuff, then that impacts when you do it and all those things. But I think I just wanted to have this conversation because it's so taboo. We don't talk about it, but then a lot of people complain about their experience with it. So it's like, you got to get, like you said, getting to know your body and getting to know your partner.
It's all about communicating.
Yeah.
And if you got to communicate with yourself and say, listen, vagina, what we like?
Right.
Tell me what I like.
Yeah.
And you gotta figure it out. You're not gonna go into no healthy sexual relationship if you don't know your body.
Right.
And it's, once again, they're not gonna know you unless you know you.
Right.
If you're not happy within your sexual body, they're not gonna take you at all. So this whole taboo thing, let that go. We are in 2021, and we seeing sex everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. OnlyFans, everywhere. It's everywhere. So
doing it. You hear me? Getting it.
how you choose to do it is on you. It's everyone's different. Everyone's into different things. I'm not biased. I'm cool. I love to hear different things. It intrigues me when I hear something different. But understand, it's healthy. It's normal. If you want to tell me that you like having sex upside down, I'm gonna say,
go girl.
I was like, you could handle all that blood rushing to your brain? What are your tricks of the trade? I need to know.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
It's always good to know different things. It's always good to read, research, and reach out to people like me and to know how to get in touch with your own body. Speak to your partner and say, like, what do you like? What intrigues you? What turns you on? It's not a bad question. So know how to finesse and communicate.
And one of the things too I want to share is just especially for women, just make sure that you are in love with your body, no matter what it looks like. Bring that sexiness, with yourself, because a lot of women don't love what they look like, and then they want the lights off, they want a hat, and don't want to. And it's just like, be in love with you, no matter what your body looks like, because you bring all that sensuality and sexiness into the bedroom, and then that can enhance the experience as well.
Exactly. If you bring stress and distress and your lack of confidence in the bedroom, depending on if that man or whoever your partner is can feel that tension, it's like, I'm not even in it. They can tell that you're not in it. They're going to tell that you're just doing it. You're just here.
Right.
Just to be here. And you don't want to just be here just to be here. You want to fully be engaged and loving every minute of it. You never know when you're going to get that back.
Right.
I'm just saying, you never know. That might just be that one time, and it's like, I may not get it for a good 6 months.
Yeah. I love it. So I really appreciate you sharing, the stages with us, just so we can understand there are 4 stages. Some of you may say, well, I already knew that, but sometimes it's important to just slow it down and understand there are levels to this. And so let's make sure that we're taking time in each level, each stage, so that we can have enjoyable experiences. So before we go, I want to transition, kind of pivot into how I met you, which is through the Noticeable podcast. So tell us about the Noticeable podcast, what you do, and all that good stuff, how people can listen.
So I am the director of the podcast at Noticeable Dating. And what we do there is we're trying to get people away from the dating apps, get away from POF and Tinder and Bumble and all that stuff. Come get into speed dating. We
Nice.
used to do that back in the day, and even though due to COVID, we're still trying to do it. If we have to do it through Zoom or whatever platform,
Mhm.
and when things start to dwindle down with COVID, we're trying to get people face to face, no more catfishing, no more ghosting, and engage in conversation with people and
Mhm.
make a connection with people.
Mhm.
Whether if you're just looking for friendship, if you're actually looking for dating, relationship, marriage, whatever you're looking for, that's what we're here to do at the Noticeable Dating Company.
Nice.
My podcast is through, we're on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And I talk about a lot of various topics. I'm a little triple X rated, so be prepared. be, be prepared if you're not into the triple X rated. I don't know what to tell you, but I give you information though. So understand it's entertaining, it's a little raw, but that's me. That's the type of
Yeah.
therapist I am. I'm
Yeah.
raw and I'm real.
Mhm.
So that's what I do. And I have another host. Her name is Rosie. She's also great as well.
Nice.
And we're about to have our first event on Friday for our speed dating event. So
Nice. Where? Tell us about that. Like, how do you pull those events together and get people involved?
So what we do, honestly, let me be very honest.
Okay.
So I'm not behind the scenes on that one. See, I stay
Okay.
in my lane in the podcast area. But
Uh-huh.
from my understanding, what we do is we put out ads either on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Mhm.
and we reach out in different states because we're not just staying, in New York, we're in Miami, all over. I think our first event is actually going to be in Miami.
Okay.
So we're basically putting out ads and we're reaching out to those individuals that are looking for that.
Mhm.
And, if you're interested, click on the link, answer some questions, buy a ticket, and we're going to set you up. If you just want to date just to date, that's cool. Get the feel of it. If you're looking for matchmaking, we do that too.
Nice. Come on. Noticeable dating. Okay. So
Yeah.
how can they find the page so that they can look? So I know you said it's in Miami. Are you able to match make in other cities, other states? Like how do people
We will be in other states. We're just starting in Miami right now. It's our first
Okay.
event is in Miami, but we will be all over. It's
Okay.
never just staying there. We'll be everywhere.
Okay.
But if you want to find us, well, first let me talk about me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to find me, my personal account is Lady Vanilla Bean Frap, 2 P's, Lady Vanilla Bean Frap, just like the Starbucks drink. 2 P's. My business account, my life coaching business account is I am Toni Marie R.
Mhm.
And for Noticeable on Instagram, it's noticeable_US.
Okay.
So you could find all of us there. Like I said, the podcast is on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple,
Nice.
called the Noticeable Dating Podcast.
Nice. Yes, I love it. I think that's a great idea. And like you said, a lot of people, there are some success stories from the apps, but it's just really nice when you can get to see the person in person and have good conversation and good dialogue. And that's why we got these dating 101 cards, because we have that same desire for people to have meaningful conversations, and just get to know each other instead of
That's mainly what it is. Like, I'm not taking away the success stories from these apps. I'm not saying it can never happen. It can.
yeah,
But we're trying to take it back to where it's like you see me face to face. You see me.
exactly.
I'm real.
Yeah.
I don't want to be talking to or falling in love with my phone or my iPad because
Right.
like we're talking forever and I never get to see you. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to build real connections. And if you want that, you come to one of our events and you're going to see the person.
Mm-hmm.
We don't allow people that are just like they don't have their camera on or whatever.
Yeah.
We're not having that.
Oh,
If you want to be here, your camera must be on, mic must be right, and be you. We're not telling you to be nobody else but you. Be real. And if what you're looking for is what you're looking for, let us know so we can help you.
Exactly.
You just want a speed date? That's cool. Come to the event and that's fine. You want matchmaking? We do that too.
Nice. They got what you need. So go on over to either Toni's page so she can talk to you about your relationships and your sex life and even career, whatever you need.
Career, college, everyday life struggles. I do it all. I am a jack of all trades. I do it all.
I love it. So I really appreciate you coming on tonight. This has been a great discussion and just hearing about these different phases, seeing what Noticeable does and what you do. So I appreciate you and all that you do. So thank you once again.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored for being here.
Absolutely. This was a fun discussion. So I appreciate y'all tuning in and for your interaction and all that good stuff. So until next time, good night.
Later.